Hello everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to take a minute to answer a question that came in via email to me last night. It was from a viewer who asked me, what do I think is the absolute worst handgun to be released in 2022? Now, I know there is still a couple more days left in 2022, so maybe this video will end up being moot by the time you see it, because maybe in the next couple of days, Kel-Tec will release something new, or SIG will release the Sig Sauer P3 NIS or something like that, and it'll be worse, and I'll have to make another video of what the worst gun of 2022 or the worst handgun of 2022 was. But I feel pretty safe saying something isn't going to come out in the next couple of days that's going to be worse than the gun I'm going to label the worst handgun of 2022. For me, for a gun to be horrible, it has to have at least an expectation of being good. You know, like if a crappy manufacturer is putting out a first-time gun and it's horrible, you kind of expect that. If Kel-Tec puts something out, you kind of expect that it's not going to be great. So it's not that disappointing. To me, a gun has to be bad and disappointing because you had reasonable, like I said, expectations that it would be good. And when you think of it like that, I think there's one gun that is definitely the worst gun of 2022. And since I can't actually just change my green screen here, I'm going to have to move over so that I can put the picture up here. And that gun, the worst handgun of 2022 is the Smith & Wesson CSX. Now, I know a lot of people will get mad because probably a lot of people like this gun. A lot of people have bought this gun. But if you got suckered into buying this gun, I'm sorry. This gun is horrible. For one, the design is horrible. Now, it could have been good. It's like it had potential, but it just looks horrible. It's like they made every bad small decision. You know, like when they were refining the design, they went the wrong way on each corner or each T in the path they came to, they took the wrong turn. So it is ugly. It is not very ergonomic. If you've ever felt this thing, it kind of looks like a giant piece of aluminum and it feels like a big square piece of aluminum in your hand. But you know, I could forgive all of those things if it didn't have probably the worst trigger I've ever shot in a gun, much less a Smith & Wesson. This trigger is terrible. It's worse than a Glock trigger. This gun had me thinking this was going to be good. I was looking forward to it. I wanted to buy one. And then I felt one in person, and not only is it feels all, rickety, clanky, clunky, rattly, it just doesn't feel good in the hand. It doesn't have good ergonomics, and it's ugly, but it also, like I said, has the worst trigger I think I've ever shot. At least in a gun that had a potential to be good from a company that usually makes good guns. So when people ask me, what do I think is the worst handgun of 2022 to come out, I just can't think of any from a reputable manufacturer that I actually had high hopes for that is worse than the Smith & Wesson CSX.